Electronic Arts published over 100 games for the Sega Genesis, and in today's video I'm looking at the games that they published in 1995. They did a lot of different types of games, and as many companies stopped publishing for the Sega Genesis in the mid-90s, EA continued as it was very profitable for them. And so I've done several of these ranking videos on my channel. The link is going to be below for the several ones that I did for EA. And, you know, I'm having a lot of fun doing these, covering many games that most other people wouldn't cover. I love the Sega Genesis, and that's why I'm covering so many games, as it is the console that I grew up with, and I'm very passionate about Sega. So, if you want to rank these yourself, there'll also be a link below as well. We're looking at all the 13 games that EA released in '95. They were starting to wind down what they were covering and offering for the Sega Genesis, but there are going to be a few surprises, and I know there's going to be a few favorites out there that you're going to be excited to see. So sit back, relax, you may want to grab some popcorn. Let's take a look. The first game I'm showing is a Mega Drive exclusive that we didn't get here in the States, and a follow-up to Rugby World Cup 1995. Offered a multitude of options, 44 teams, 20 Australian Rugby League teams, and 11 English teams. How does this fare to the previous Rugby World Cup 95? The sprites are bigger. I do think it is well animated, but I think it runs slower. Now, if you're a rugby fan, you may give this a higher grade. For me, it's just an average sports game. I'm not into rugby. I kind of talked about that last video. This is a C for me. Well, maybe college basketball is your thing. Look no further than Coach K College Basketball, taking the success from NBA Live 95 and using, I think, the same engine. You got this, and this is a wonderful college basketball game. It offers both sim and arcade gaming experience. I really enjoy this. Now, I'm more of an arcade game fan, but there's lots of options here. Awesome animation, great dunks, different plays. This is wonderful. This is one of the best college basketball games of the era. I really enjoyed playing this. This is an A for me. College Football 96 offers and continues to add additional things to make this a more realistic football game. But how is it as a video game? Well, I think it kind of misses the mark. I'm a bigger fan of the previous college football games, Bill Walsh and Bill Walsh 95. This one is just kind of lacking some personality. I just think that some things come across as kind of generic. You may be a fan of this. For me, it was just an average college football game. It's a C. By the mid-90s, FIFA Soccer was huge around the world, and FIFA 96 kind of redesigns the game with different graphics, more features, and for me, it is not as good as FIFA 95. Now, some people may like more of the realism. They added all these additional animations. I didn't care about any of that. I think this is a B. I think it's a solid entry into the series, but there's others that are my favorite. Here's what I said in a previous video about Madden 96. It has great sound, better fields, faster gameplay. Some people think it's too fast. I think it's okay. It has end zone insignias of the teams. I think they did a lot right with Madden 96. In fact, of some of the later Madden games, I think it's one of the better ones. The graphics still don't do it for me. I don't know what it is. There is a free agency. You can create a player. There's lots of additional features for that. But Madden 96 is a B. Some people aren't going to like that gameplay. I think it's a little bit too tough, but a little too fast. But for me, I think it's way better than Madden 95. So definitely solid B there. EA continued its tradition of marginal updates with many sports games, and that's what I have to say about NBA Live 96. Now, I'm a big fan of NBA Live 95, and this one to me just is slightly missing the mark. Now, it's still a great basketball game, don't get me wrong. It includes the expansion teams of the time, Toronto and Vancouver. It has additional dunks and moves, but for me, I'm going to prefer NBA Live 95, as I think it animates just a little bit differently and better. There's a lot to like here. As a basketball game, I think it's a solid choice, especially for the Sega Genesis. It's a B. It seemed that EA really understood hockey. It was one of the better sports franchises that they developed games for, and I really enjoyed NHL 96. It's a perfect blend of speed and control. There's many options here for hockey fans, but if you just want to play like an arcade style hockey game, this is a wonderful option as well. Now still, NHL 94 is like the top tier S, but there's a lot to like in NHL 96. They kind of improved the animations and moves, and it improved upon NHL 95. I think this is one of the better games that they released for the Sega Genesis, and it's an A for me. And here's the ranking through the first 7. Well, maybe Swedish Hockey is your thing. Well, you're in luck. They took the wonderful game NHL 96 and adapted it to the Swedish Hockey League, and this is a great game. And so, I'm not really into Swedish hockey, but it doesn't really matter because the game is awesome. It's hockey. It's great. It's fun. Arcade, fast and furious, with many of the realistic options for those that want to relive the glory years of that hockey era. And look no further than this. This is a total A and a cool sports oddity to track down. Like many other companies, by the mid-90s, EA was moving towards more realism and sometimes a dirty word, 3D. And unfortunately, PGA Tour Golf 96 is just really pushing the hardware limitations of the Sega Genesis. It takes several seconds for courses to load. I didn't like the putting. This is just not a good golf game. Go with PGA Tour Golf 2 or 3 or even European Tour, as this is the one that they totally missed the mark with, as I didn't like it. I really dislike the putting in this version. It just is not accurate. It's not fun. Avoid it. It's a D. While Road Rash 3 looks different than its predecessors, it still offers the same arcade fun experience that I enjoyed with the previous 2. Now, some people may not like the digitized look of graphics, but it still plays awesome. I love this series. This is a series kind of like the Strike series for the Sega Genesis. EA didn't mess with it too much. They offered some new tracks, some new weapons, some new courses, and it is still a lot of fun to play. Highly recommend it. 1 or 2 player. I really enjoy this series in general, and I like 3 just as much as I like 2 or 1. If you're looking for something a little more non-traditional, then Road Rash 3 is for you, and it's a total A for me. When I first saw that Theme Park was actually released for the Sega Genesis, I was excited, as this is a PC and Amiga classic. I know it's on several other platforms, but boy, does this not work for me, and it comes down to control. I did not enjoy utilizing the menus with the controller or moving it around. This game needs to have different control options. I'm surprised they didn't offer a Sega mouse option. Play this on other consoles and handhelds that offer different controls, stylus or a mouse, but avoid this version. It's a total F. An often overlooked boxing game for the Sega Genesis, you got Toughman Contest, also made for the 32X. Multitude of different boxers, and it has excellent graphics. Now, to me, you're probably wondering, wow, this kind of looks like a Punch-Out arcade game. Yes, it plays close to that, but I think Punch-Out is a much better game. This, to me, is just an average boxing game. It's a C for me. Another great marriage of realism, but still does not forget it's a video game, and that's Triple Play 96. I do believe this is above average baseball game with a multitude of options and customizations, including battery save. This is a great, realistic baseball game for the mid-90s for the Sega Genesis. It's a B for me. So here's the final rankings. And what was your favorite of what I showed today? Now, you may not be into sports games, and that's okay. But if you are a physical collector, there are several affordable games that I showed today that you can pick up rather cheap and you can probably find these locally. Several of these games still have lots of value to them. And so I look forward to continuing and finishing up EA. As a reminder, I've done several other ranking videos. You can check those out in the links below. And if you're new to the channel, you may want to consider hitting that like and subscribe button and clicking the bell as I'm uploading videos every week. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. Let's keep it positive. This is the immortal John Hancock, and you have a good day.